Welcome to the Game On podcast. Tonight, can dreams come true? South Australia sits top of the Shield table. An Aussie making history in one of the world's biggest events at the Super Bowl. And Australia's perfect summer in the cricket, home and abroad. All right, let's do this. Welcome to the Game On podcast. My name's Pete once again, joining the studio here with Malcolm. And, mate, let's kick off with, coming up a little bit later on, we've got soccer, the Live Golf. We've got Craig Martin coming on from Live Golf and basketball. But, mate, it'd be remiss of us not to kick off around the grounds with cricket today. And we welcome special guest Ryan Harris.
5 good minutes in the clubhouse.
Tonight we welcome Ryan Harris, South Australian coach. He's just swanning it on holidays in WA, fishing, etc. You enjoying your holiday over there, Rhino?
G'day, boys.
Thanks for joining us, mate.
No worries. No worries. It's a funny feeling, yeah.
Bizarre.
Two full days off in a Shield game. It's probably one of the quickest, if not the quickest, I've been a part of. So definitely not on a holiday. I would tell you that we had a good celebration, and the boys had a day off yesterday. They were back in training today.
Yeah.
Obviously, a big one day coming up on Thursday. An important one day for us.
Very important. Yeah,
the guys have definitely celebrated well, as they do, as I encourage them to. But as long as they're safe and look after themselves. But then, back in it today, and they're all back at work, and as I said, determined for Thursday to come over to the west, which we haven't done for a while. We haven't won over here for a while, and we take all the points back home with us. It would be a massive trip for us.
Absolutely. Well, mate, let's just sort of rewind a little bit to the start of the season. We spoke to you before you were appointed, and congratulations on that appointment. But let's go back to the start there, mate, and
I
see
just
where
want to
it
go
all
from there with that, Rhino. So we've won in Queensland, drawn in New South Wales, won in Tasmania, won in WA. Online for possibly our most successful interstate games. It'd be interesting to try and find when we've done anywhere near as well as that. So that's got to be giving huge satisfaction. And also our wins all being sort of entirely different too as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's even just hearing that, I probably haven't looked back at the season and looked at it in as much detail as that. But hearing that's quite a nice little thing to hear. One of the things one of the many things I said at the start of the year, or when I got appointed for the role, is that you've got to play good cricket away as well as you do at home. We want to make sure we win as well. Obviously, win our home games, that's important, but travelling away and playing in different conditions is always hard. We hear that a lot, and to be able to travel away, win in Queensland, to win here, has been outstanding. We look back at that New South Wales game, and I might have had a few different thoughts between now and then, and that we maybe should have chased that 80 runs a little bit harder. But we also think that we were probably 2 wickets away there. That with Nathan Lyon bowling as well as he was, that we lose that game, the momentum could have been different. Yeah. So that was a huge result for us to be able to bat. Being 4 for 20, I think we were at one stage,
exactly,
to bat through and save that game. So looking back at it, and of course, look back now and think, imagine if we had gone for it, and we're sitting a game clear, could have been 2 clear, but if we had lost it, I don't think we would have had that momentum that we took from that game and into the rest of to the early part of that season. So, of course, winning away it's to be a good team and a really good team, you need to win in all conditions, and it's nice to see that we've done that.
And you think back the game in Queensland, 100 opening partnership, which played a huge part of the win. And then was a good all-round performance, pretty systematic bowling performance together on the last day. Then you had the game here against Victoria, where it looked like Victoria were going to hang on, and then Lloyd Pope, and it was very enjoyable feeling leaving Adelaide Oval that night, Rhino, because let's be honest, as a Sheffield Shield nut, a regular, we all know each other because we're all idiots in terms of that, and it was people who were pretty pumped leaving Adelaide Oval that night, and
yeah. That was a big night. I mean, what I loved about it was a bit of the old fashioned tradition Adelaide Oval that was ragging and spinning, and we had Ben Menenti take 5 from the first innings of that game, who was probably wasn't bowling as well as he probably would have liked, and he'd done a lot of work going into that game, but he'd been criticised a little bit even last year. That he obviously does a big role with the bat for us, but he wasn't getting a lot of wickets, and he didn't have the conditions really to bowl. I had to defend him a couple of times, and I said, you wait when he gets the conditions that suit him. Like most spinners, that he is a wicket taker, and he'll do well. And he got a wicket that spun and did exactly that. And then obviously Lloyd Pope did well in that second inning. So yeah, nice to see that. I think those sort of wickets we want. That's a great thing about Adelaide Oval and Damien Hoff and his staff is we want result wickets. We don't want to have draws. We're not playing for draws. Yeah. We want to make sure we get results when we play because a draw. I think last year there were 11 or 8, whatever it was. There were a lot of draws, and it's such a especially as the competition is this year as well. It can really. Especially the back end now, it can really cost you, a spot. So we want result wickets.
And let's be honest, we'll get that. Rhino, that some of those pitches down at Karen Rolton, like we could have been playing, we'd still be playing now and not got a result.
Yeah, so, they've gotten better though.
Yes, they have.
Because we've got the two drop-in wickets down there now as well. So we were obviously we've had our worst game probably in Shield cricket this year was against New South Wales when we won the toss and batted and didn't bat very well. But at least now we're confident we can get a wicket down there that's going to have a result. We've got one more game down there, well, hopefully 2.
Yeah, exactly. Don't worry, I was thinking that, Rhino.
Yeah, hopefully 2. I'm not getting too far ahead, but at least now we can sort of get a wicket that we're going to get a result of, and it's not just going to flatten out and be a benign sort of wicket, probably like it used to be. And again, Trent Kelly, who works down there now, loves having that ground in good condition. It's an unbelievable, conditioned ground now. So.
And go to the game in Tasmania, Rhino. Go through some of the emotions with that, because let's be honest, that was crazy. Like we set them 400 plus. It looks like they're going to get them. It was frustrating, and then all of a sudden, it was crazy. The last 4 wickets in 22 balls to win the game, and the crazy what happened off the last ball. Go through some of the emotions with that, Rhino. What the hell were you thinking?
Thinking we drove that game for a day and 2 3/4 days, and then we probably faltered a little. We lost a few wickets. We weren't exactly sure what to set, and I the idea is to try and set a total. It's a bit of a carrot, but you got to get teams trying to score runs, otherwise it gets harder to bowl them out. But we probably were going to set a few more than what we did. But then we ended up losing a few wickets trying to get those runs, and it was probably a blessing in the end because, and that's a bit of a lesson. Excuse me, a lesson for myself and the team that, you're trying to win, you want to win, but you've got to also give yourself a chance to win, whether especially when you're chasing bowling last. So, obviously thought we had enough. Knew the wicket was getting better, which we probably thought it wouldn't at the start of the game. We probably thought it would have deteriorated a bit, but look, Tim Ward, who made 100, Weatherald I think got 60, Mitch Owen got a few. They batted really well on it. We probably didn't. We weren't at our best. There's no doubt with the ball, and that's probably one of the worst. Well, probably the wrong word, but probably one of the least better games we bowled since I arrived back in Adelaide, and. We knew that. We knew the boys were struggling. They were sort of saying that we're not hitting the right spots, but they kept going and going and going. It was amazing, just emotional game. It was sort of we've got a couple of wickets early, and then that partnership, and then we got that partnership broken, and then Mitch Owen came in and slogged one. I just had a feeling, knowing Mitch Owen, he wanted to finish the game himself. And I just had a feeling he was going to hit one up or hit one. He might have hit 3 sixes, but he had the possibility of hitting one down, to the out. He did it. So, and then Brad Hope, who batted well as well, hit one back to backward square, deep backward square. Yeah. And when that was sort of happening, it was like, far out, we might be sort of chancy because they were well ahead of it. They set the chase up beautifully. Yeah. And then obviously, we just sort of well, we're done. Everyone was sitting down on the bench, just we're done. We just said, what's happened? How has this happened? 424 or whatever it was going to be. And then bang, bang, bang. And we just thought, it can't happen. And then the last ball, everyone keeps asking what happened. I've got no idea what he was thinking around Meredith. He obviously misread the scoreboard, but they were never going to win. Whether we wanted to tie it, I don't know. But
that was the word. That was what Wes, because we've interviewed Wes on it, Agar on it, and he said the scoreboard showed 3, and why they put up 3 to tie has got me beat. And how the incoming batsman didn't know the scores again got me completely stuffed.
Yeah,
but that's what the word is, that he was running back for the second, thinking to tie the game because that was a better result than a draw. Yep. Which it is, but it was still bizarre.
Yeah. Still one of the craziest runouts that we've
seen.
Yeah,
it was weird. It was 3 to tie, I think it was.
Yeah.
Not 3 to win. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So but again, it's been like that for apparently. I must admit, I hadn't taken too much notice of in the past, but talking to the Tassie guys, and it's like, no, it's been like that the whole time since they updated their scoreboard. So we obviously got it totally wrong, and even to the fact that, you know, when he turned for that, it only went to sort of like a, not a deep cover, but in between cover and deep cover, and even their guys on the sideline, by this time obviously we're all on the bench, and their guys were yelling out no. He just turned and ran, and whereas Agar actually said he took it and he felt as though he was right next to him, so he felt he had to get it off in quick succession. And he turned around and did almost a 180 and realised that Meredith was 3/4 of the way
down the deck,
way down the wicket. So even that, that was just. I mean, that's just a massive bonus win. We debriefed that we didn't deserve on the fact that the way we sort of bowled that second innings. Yep. They batted well, but again, we've, as I've said to a few people and publicly, and I've said it to our team, it's like we've been on the end of that a couple of times as well. We haven't had a lot of luck, and sometimes we deserve some, things like that, and we deserve a little bit good luck, and I feel as though the way we're playing and the way we played this year, that definitely deserved it. But preferably it doesn't get that close any game for the rest of the year. We want to be on a better side of winning than that.
Mate, I have to ask, obviously, the most recent game at the WACA, what were your thoughts rolling up to the ground and seeing a bit of a green top?
Yeah, it wasn't as bad.
Yeah, it was a strange sort of wicket here. We'd heard sort of a bit of mail coming in that they wanted a fast sort of bouncy wicket, which is the WACA, the old WACA, which is what you love here. Yes. It's what batters love coming here because it's true. Your pull and cutters love it because they play the pull shot so well. And so we heard that. We sort of expected it to be, we'll have a little bit on it. But when I sort of turned up and looked at it the morning before, it was grassy, but it was quite thatchy or thick grass, and I hadn't really seen that here at the WACA. So it was a bit like, oh, this looks interesting. Obviously you do your research with the groundsman and ask him about it, and are you going to cut it? And they weren't going to. Well, they cut it back to 9 mil, which is what they had it at, and so it was interesting. And then obviously rocking up the morning of, we were pretty keen straight away to. Well, actually, I wasn't 100% sure what to do. I'm not a great wicket reader, so I go and look at it myself, and then walk back in, and everyone asks me what you think, and then I say, look, I'll tell you after the toss and after you decide. I sit on the fence of that because I don't like making the decision because the decision around that. We've seen the bat better if we get put in rather than if we win the toss and bat. Yeah. So I hold that judgment. But Ben Menentu, who's captain, obviously just said that, and Stephen Stubborn too, who's the two that sort of look at it. They were like, "No, we've got a bowl," and I was happy with that. So lucky we won the toss and had that opportunity, but we didn't bowl very well early. It was really hard because it was a little bit soft, which is normally what happens on day one wickets, and. Yep. And, our bowlers sort of slipped a little bit at the crease, so they weren't put in the right spot and trying to hit the stumps at the bowl really, really full, and they weren't quite doing that. But in doing what they did, what it was doing to the wicket was divoting, and it made a few divots in it. So, and obviously the second session when we took wickets in the first innings, when it sped up, drives out and speeds up, there was a couple of balls that misbehaved, and we bowled pretty well. We had a young WA batting lineup, which I did mention to the boys that if we can get into them early, put pressure on them, we would have some success, and we did. So I don't think it was as bad a wicket as what was it? Day and a session or day and a,
some of the
day and a half.
Some of the shots by
some
both
of the shots
sides
were pretty poor.
Yeah.
Both sides.
Yeah.
And I've said that in a couple of interviews I've done over the last 24 hours, 48 hours, and there are a lot of shots that were played. But again, you the way you bowl and you build pressure, you don't give bad balls. That sort of brings those shots out, and that's what we were able to do, and we did it well. And also what we did very, very well was catch. We caught very well behind the wicket, which helps as well.
And Jason Sanger, I think we all knew, hey, this guy's got a fair bit of ability, which has probably been untapped in New South Wales, and like he's arrived and didn't get straight in the side, which I actually liked, and made early spots. Had some injuries as well, where he hurt his bicep in the one dayer, but geez, he looks real class at the moment. Yeah,
he's a class player, and again, I've been asked this over the last 24 hours why wasn't he in the team straight away. He sort of came over and just he knew he wasn't going to walk in and straight into the team, and he probably didn't put in as many runs in the pre-season as he would have liked in club cricket early, and we probably had our top six set with some performances from that pre-season, a little bit from last year. And then we got to that point where we thought we were, the guys probably weren't going as good as we would have liked. And then we just thought, no, look, we've got to give this guy a go. And that was the New South Wales one day. And, he obviously, he went out and he made an impact with the ball before he did with the bat. He didn't even get a bat, obviously, because he did his bicep bowling. But as I've said it to a number of people, that he showed, I think, firstly, to get someone like that who's played 40-odd, I think it's close to 40 now, first-class games, probably not averaging, as you said, in New South Wales, probably didn't make enough runs that he probably should have. Is captain New South Wales. So to get a guy like that this day and age is really hard. You don't see too many people moving with that sort of those games under their belt. So to be able to get him has been a massive bonus. And then obviously when he got his go and showed what he can actually do, it's been unbelievable. I think the 150 and the 70 odd in Tasmania. I think a few of our boys from the side always looked at Jason to be a nice player, but the way he played there, it raised a few eyebrows in terms of far out. This kid's good. And then I think the first innings here, as I said, really showed that if you applied yourself, had good defence, and was able to leave the ball well, and then hit the ball that was over pitched or short. You could get away with it, and he did that beautifully. And again, the boys stepped back and went, "Wow!" Some of the shots he was playing on a wicket that was up and down was unreal. And then he got one. He got one in the first innings that reared off a length, maybe a divot, and took his glove. But again, he showed yesterday finishing the game off that he was outstanding. So to have a player like that come in's been unreal. He's settled in so well. The boys, he knew a few of the lads, so it wasn't just a foreign environment for him. And he loves Adelaide. He loves being in Adelaide. He loves taking 10 minutes to get the train on there and 10 minutes in the Sydney traffic. So he loves it.
What were your thoughts at the end of the first day? Like, we got to 4 for 101, chasing 120, and then collapsed to only be basically level overnight. Would have been a bit of frustration at the end of the first day, first night.
Yeah, it was. Walking in the change rooms, it felt like we'd lost the game, to be honest. The boys were down, and probably, again, we've had probably in the last, since I've been back in Adelaide, we've had an opportunity against WA to really nail them. We bowled well in Adelaide, I think, last year, and didn't quite do it with the bat. We let them back in the door. I think we ended up having a 30, 40 run lead where we should have potentially made 350 and had 150, 200 lead. So I felt as though that, I was definitely disappointed, again, that we might have let them off the hook. But I did know, I'd not nailed them. I just sort of said to them, lads, this is, we've seen what good bowling can do. We spoke about their young batting lineup. There's a couple of guys in there that hold the key, and that would have been Turner and Cartwright. I'll challenge you now to get up and go and win this game in the morning. And our bowlers, did a great job. They're going to have to do it again. And then in the morning of that second day, I got the bowlers together and just the bowling group and said, boys, this is our day to run through this mob. And we know if we put them in the right spot, enough there that we can build the pressure, they're going to have to play shots to try and score something.
So you just played your Alistair Cook ball and said, just bowl 10 of these, pal.
I actually pointed that out before the
I couldn't help myself, Rhino.
Where it pitched, but just got them together, and got them on task. Not that you have to do that with this group very often. They're pretty experienced now, and they work really well, and they respond to each other really well, and they work great as a team. And that's why I think they're becoming if not the best bowling group under the Australian team in the country at the moment. And then before we knew, we had a 4-run lead, and like Stephen Stubbins said, any lead's a good lead, and I think they were 4 for 4, so we're on our way. And that was where we sort of started sensing in the change rooms like, far out, this could be a great day for us, and ended up being a really good day, great day.
Yeah, I was at Uni Oval there, and we were all following it, and we're still going, hey, it's only 60 odd, but geez, it's still nervous as a chase here. And
they're always the hardest ones to get, though, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. I mean, especially with the way it was in the end of the wicket again. You just never know. And Joel Parrish charging in, who doesn't miss a 5-cent piece, and Cameron Gannon bowling pretty good, and then Brodie Couch charging in and doing what he did. As I said, it was two pretty good bowling attacks. So you just never knew, but you never know. But the way they approached it, they were good. Henry Hunt couldn't help it. He got a really good ball. Connor McInerney played nicely, took it on, but got another good ball. Scotty probably would look at that shot he played, probably wouldn't be too happy. Yeah. Lemo, not a great shot. Everyone, I've seen the criticism he's copped. Not a great shot, but ultimately, Jake Lehman was going out there to finish it early, and I'm okay with that. I just would have liked to have probably seen him face 3 or 4 more balls. Yeah. That's all. But he was out there to. That's what Jake does, and that's the the thing that you like in a small chase. Like someone can go out and go bang, bang, bang.
Just a quick 25.
It just eases the pressure. So again, I've no criticism of what he does. I know he's been criticised a lot. I've seen a lot of the comments around, but maybe just give yourself a couple more. But if he goes out and goes bang, 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 all of a sudden he's the hero, not the villain. Yeah. So. And that's the way we want to play. That's okay, So again, I've spoken to Jake about that, and Stephen Stubbins has, and next time he'll learn. But look, we got through. We lost 4 wickets. Would have been nice to do it none down, maybe 2 down, but 4 down was enough, and we got there. So
one last one, Rhino. In terms of, so you weren't involved with a big bash, and hearing you said it gave you a chance to work with the batters and that side of things, and Henry Hunt and not only South Australia in general, the last couple of years have either played well in one part of the season, either before Christmas or after Christmas. So this is a big tick so far that we've won one game, in the next phase of the season. But we've had batters have had a good half season or not. Now Henry had a great first half of the season. He's probably a guy who worries a fair bit and all that. So how do you go now with just the reinforcement, Henry? Just back yourself in, keep going, and and keep working with Connor, trying to get him not hit around that front pad quite so much, even though it was a pretty reasonable ball. But just talking, he does get LBW a fair bit, and I'm sure you're working on that. So just using those as a couple of examples.
Play your role,
Yeah, I think the Connor one's is interesting. We had that conversation just before Christmas, and if you're going to get and I look at it from a bowling point of view. If you stand in front of your stumps, man, I'm blowing your pad off. If I stay there long enough, I'm going to hit it because you got to go across it. So we had those conversations, and he's changed his game, and Steve Stubbins obviously has those conversations every day. So, the innings he played in Tasmania was a huge confidence booster for him, that he came out and whacked 75 off 74 balls, whatever it was, and it wasn't slogging by him. He just hitting the bad ball and keeping the good one out and playing straight, and he did that again yesterday. So he's gained some confidence from that one innings, and again, he only got 20 odd yesterday, but it was a very important 20 odd, and he got a good ball. Hunty's the other one. Hunty's easy for me because he's such a confidence player, and you talk to him, and it's all about just doing what you do, mate. You leave well. He was leaving well. He just made that split decision to leave a little bit too late in that first innings. He got a cracking ball yesterday. You can't help that one. But, or the day before. Yeah. But he's good. Hunty, I've got to know him in the last 2 years, and it's just all about confidence. He's got to be nice and confident with him, and make sure it just reinforces his strengths. And he's going good. I'm not worried about him at all. He's had lots of hits. He spent some time with Stubbo around that Christmas period and over that time to rehash what he's doing so well and what he's done so well to score the runs that he's got. So look. We go to Adelaide. Well, we've got this one day first. Obviously,
Who comes in on Thursday, mate?
Yeah, we've got. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say this yet because I haven't released it, but we've got a
I
few
won't go.
changes.
Well, actually, this won't go up
Until-
live, so
No, that's
it'll
all right.
actually
That's
come
all right. I'm
out.
not worried.
Wednesday
No,
night, 7 o'clock. Yep.
Yeah, that's right. No, I'm not worried about it. But we've basically changed the bowling attack because we're able to do it because we've got everyone fit. So the 3 Shield bowlers have gone home.
Okay.
With Connor McInerney and then obviously Wes Agar's here. He'll slot in.
Yep.
We carry Conway and Henry Thornton and Macca Harvey will come over. So.
Yep.
You know, obviously we're lucky, spoiled in the bowlers that we have that are able to do that. They're all vying to play all forms of cricket.
So where's Spencer at the moment?
Spencer's over in Sri Lanka. He's gone over
in Sri Lanka,
Sri Lanka.
right? Okay.
Yeah, and he's going over. As far as I know, he's over. He's going for the Champions Trophy. So,
right.
Obviously, nice to have him, but he's obviously doing better and bigger and better things, which is a great thing to see as well. So, we've lost him. We lost Jake Fraser McGurk as well. Obviously, he's gone over there too. Been pulled into the squad. So it'd be nice to have those guys, but we haven't, and we've got guys that can cover them and do a great job. I think our one-day cricket's been really solid this year. It feels like an eternity since we played. We haven't played since early November, which
we smashed
it seems
Victoria,
I actually had to go back and look at the team that we played. I forgot the team we played.
Victoria here, wasn't it?
So
was that the last one?
It was, and we were, we won for 287 or whatever it was. So. We want to make sure that we're not sure what WA are going to do. They're obviously out, whether they're going to play some young kids or whether I believe Sam Whiteman, who missed the Shield game, could be fit for that. Maybe Bancroft might be back as well. I'm not sure. So we're waiting to see the squad there.
Okay.
Doesn't matter who they play. We just got to play well. But look, we've played some pretty good one-day cricket. Need to win one, I think, to get closer to a final. If we win two, we'll definitely be in one, if not host one. So,
and of course,
looking forward to it.
Great news too with Travis Head winning the Allen Border, and of course Alex only averaging 122, batting number 5 this year. I'm probably pushing my point. That's where I've always thought he should be. I think he could be used better by Australia. That's another topic. And I think Nathan McSweeney is a very good off spinner too. I want Nathan to back himself in a bit more with the ball.
He's been bowling in Sri Lanka apparently with Dan Vittori, so he's been doing lots over there. So
good.
He is underrated, no doubt. He's our secret weapon. Every time he comes on, he seems to.
He's technically very good offie, Rhino. I like.
Yeah, he's good.
He's technically way more correct than Travis. And that. So, look, great signs. Long way to go, but, geez, I admit I was following probably the games today a bit more than usual and that. And, great thing. We're a game clear. Let's keep going and let's hope that we're all at Karen Rolton in, obviously there, but 3 games to go first. David Hook's trophy to win as well in terms of that regard. And, lots of things to go. All the best on Thursday, mate, as well.
No, thanks, boys, and thanks for support as always. We obviously love it, and hopefully, without getting too far ahead, it'd be nice to have a Shield final in Adelaide and even a one-day final. But we'll do our best to try and make that happen.
One game at a time, mate. That's what it's all about.
See you next next Tuesday, Rhino. Thanks, mate.
Will do. Cheers. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, mate.
Around the grounds.
And we thank Ryan Harris for his time there, mate. Some amazing conversation about, obviously, the season that South Australia are having and some of those, things that have gone their way finally.
Yeah, and it was good to bring up the whole interstate where we've been and, to have Rhino go, hey, shit, I haven't actually thought of that yet.
Yep.
So, I'm happy with that one.
Absolutely.
Of course, a bit of mucking around with him about the Alistair Cook, the other ball of the century.
Yes.
Oh, look, incredible to win the Shield game. I admit on Saturday night I had Emma going, stop carrying on as South Australia were collapsing, losing 6 for 19.
But
I wasn't happy.
History says that hasn't sort of stopped the rot previously, has it?
No, and look, and then on the Sunday, was at Uni Oval watching Uni play Kensington in the one-day comp.
Yes.
And one of the boys clicked on and they're 3 for 8. And I looked a few minutes later and they were 5 for 23.
Yes.
And we're just going, this is crazy. And, a few people were saying, geez, the wicket must be diabolical. I said, hey, click on and have a look at the dismissals.
Yep.
And a couple of people did and went, geez, there were some average shots.
Some ordinary shots, exactly right.
Out of that, so Nathan McAndrews takes 7 for 11, second best ever 7 for figures.
Yes.
I admit when I did look it up, the other one was Nathan Bracken.
Yes.
Sure enough, it was against us, 7 for 4 in 2004, and we were bowled out for 29. That brought back memory straight away. But, 7 for 11, huge result. And, look, he's a ripper, Nathan McAndrew. He gives 150% all the time.
Yep.
Look, big point being a Shield regular because there's so few of us. So his parents quite often drive over for the game, like Henry Hunt's dad. I sat with last game.
Yep.
You have Nathan. I'm sure if Nathan's back next Tuesday, there's a fair chance his grandpa will come down from Queensland.
Yes.
And as I said to Ryan in the interview, leaving in the game against Victoria with the diehards on the way out. And let's be honest, the Shield regulars, we all know each other.
Yep.
So,
well, there'd be some pretty happy regulars at the moment. South Australia have got themselves in a great position. And
as of tonight, because Tasmania beat Victoria today, we're a game clear in top spot. We're basically about 7 and bit points in front. So it's up to us now, and that's a beautiful position to be in.
Yep.
And
well, you can only put yourself in these positions, can't you?
And it's very ironic, probably the player at the moment, because we play Queensland next Tuesday, is Jake Weatherald. Now, Weathers is currently after this game, where he's made 40-odd and 155. He's now, and he made 185 earlier, is now the leading Shield run getter. So, look, rap for Jake. I wish we got him back.
Yes.
I readily admit that.
Well, who knows what might happen.
I wasn't going to put Rhino on the thing there.
Who knows what might happen in the near to medium term future.
Look, but I know he's enjoying living down in him and his wife are really happy down in Tasmania, and that's the important thing in life. So, look, hey, there's an opening spot in that Australian side, still up for grabs. It's not set in stone.
Yep.
And Jake, if Jake can manage now to finish the rest of the year and start next season with a bang,
he puts his name up there,
he's definitely in the reckoning. So,
absolutely.
I certainly wish Weathers all the best. I've messaged him, congratulating him today.
Yes.
Former guest on the show. And look, to be remiss to only found out on the weekend, actually. All the best to Daryl Harper is going through a few serious health problems.
Another previous guest of us, yes.
And he's fighting pretty hard, and he's gradually getting better. So we really wish Harps all the best. In that way, too, remiss not to wish Daryl all the best.
Absolutely.
So
crazy scenes. You did mention it there that Western Australia bowled out for 120 and 66.
Yeah.
South Australia making 124 in the first innings and 4 for 66. And as Rhino sort of mentioned there, that would have liked to have gone in unblemished, but or even 2 down, but 4 down is what it is, and South Australia win by 6 wickets. So it's a fantastic result. It's not a whacker wicket that we've seen previously, and I think Rhino put it best that it was a slightly different wicket, and it did sort of create some challenges along the way, and that's really what a lot of these grounds are like these days, aren't they?
I'm just going to do something. Game finished in 126 overs.
Yep.
Now, that is crazy.
Yep.
So, the mucking around there, a bit of fun there with Rhino to say, how you're enjoying your paid holiday over in WA, etc.
Yes.
To win a Shield game 1.5 days was just crazy. So, look.
2 days off in Shield cricket is unheard of, really, isn't
ridiculous,
it?
Ridiculous, so.
Absolutely.
2.5 days.
Exactly right. Mate, you did mention there, and we need to talk about it, obviously, Tasmania getting up by 20 runs over Victoria. Obviously, ramifications there for South Australia as well. And Queensland getting up by 188 runs over New South Wales. So, is that a surprise?
Yeah, a little bit, but look, well done to Tasmania in that way, in that Lawrence Neil-Smith got injured.
Yes.
So they actually only had Gabe Bell, Kieran Elliott and Aidan O'Connor, the young kid, bowling. So they actually went down a bowler. So to still win today, they used Brad Hope for 2 overs. So they really only used 3 bowlers in reality. Is a fantastic, again, Victoria looked like they were going to get him and then fell away, a couple of bad shots. And, technique's probably not as good over because the game's changed so much. 2020 guys aren't quite technically correct. And I just would like to have seen a couple of guys there just temper themselves, just hit the ball on the V, keep working because they still had 20 plus overs to go.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
it's going to be an interesting Shield season, and hopefully South Australia remains on top.
Yep.
All right, mate. Let's talk Test cricket while we're talking cricket. Australia obviously having a fantastic summer at home here, regaining the Border Gavaskar Trophy, but impressive results against Sri Lanka in Sri Lanka, which isn't the easiest conditions to play in. And look, we know they're in a state of change, but looking at some of those ovals, I mean, we've probably got some local footy ovals here that probably are in a little bit better shape. I mean, balls were just bouncing around everywhere.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing with they went to Dubai because previously you've gone over to Sri Lanka and India.
Yes.
And you get given this green top as preparation for yourself, and then you go and play on a dust bowl.
Yes.
So go to Dubai, do their own wickets and work together. Really worked. And full credit, the whole batting group like Khawaja. And Khawaja, let's not forget, earlier on in his career, he got dropped. He didn't get he was terrible against spin. Now he's reinvented himself to a large extent. Sweep, the reverse sweep, and how much the reverse sweep, which was, Mike Gadding got out that way in the World Cup, and it was, almost shot for it.
Yep.
The corns for Colombia.
Yes.
And that with that, so the game's changed. And look, Alex Carey, fantastic. I don't get the criticism of him. I continue just to be mystified. I think he's clearly the best keeper batsman in the world.
Agreed.
And I just don't get it. It's not anything. It's in South Australia a bit as well. And I think there's a bit of tall poppy syndrome, and I just really don't understand it.
Yep.
It's not like Kez is a ripper bloke. He's never upset anyone. If anything, he's too nice.
Yes.
You know,
personally scoring, what was it, 155?
155,
yep.
And now, as I said earlier on, averaging 128, I think it is, batting number 5 this year.
Yep.
So that's just incredible.
Yep. And do you think number 5 is his spot?
I think it is, but then Travis Head goes back to 5 as soon as that. I'd love him to stay at 6, at least, and not go back to 7. I just think it's funny, mentally batting that one spot higher, so you're playing as in a batting spot.
Yes.
I just think it's better than 7 for him. Gilchrist it wasn't. Gilchrist it gave him the freedom just at 7, and he was just incredible.
Open up the shoulders and away.
Well, I just think Alex, because he is so technically correct as well. I just think I'd love him to stay high.
So do you think the mindset is runs, as in consistently getting runs rather than score quickly?
Yeah. Yes.
Is that where you're at?
I think so. And also with Alex. Like at the start of the year, he was captaining as well. Captaining, batting 5 and keeping and dominating.
Yep.
But I think it's given him a bit of confidence that, hang on, I am fit enough to do all of this. So, in Sri Lanka, he was still cruising fitness-wise, and they said it was pretty impressive. And Steve Smith started to struggle, and Alex was fine.
Yep.
So that's a huge tick to Kez as well.
Absolutely. Australia winning by 9 wickets there. Were you surprised that Sri Lanka put up 257 in the first innings? Because I thought we had them a little bit on the ropes.
It was good that they showed a bit more fight, though, compared to the first test. Look, as soon as they got to 6 for 150, I thought they'll be all out for 180, and then it's just blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
We're 257. We lose a couple reasonably early, and then we were 3 for 55, I reckon, when Alex went into bat. So it's game on.
Absolutely.
And he, luckily enough, because Josh Inglis had been off the ground, was still another 20 minutes before he could have batted 5.
Yes.
So Alex got the chance and didn't he cash in?
Absolutely. Australia, obviously, 414 was a pretty good result. I have to ask the question, Marnus Labuschagne, where is he at? And is his position a little bit shakier than...
It is shaky, purely because you've got Cam Green to come back into the equation. So it is shaky, and I think they're not 100% sure what they're going to do. Look, I'll be surprised if he's not number 3.
Yep, for the Test Championship. Yep, no, I understand that.
Where it progresses from there, I think he would have been pretty relieved to be not out in the second innings. So, but I think he'll stay there. But, the World Championship squad, to see what they do, whether Cam Green... with the lack of cricket he's played.
That was going to be my question. Did you take a punt on somebody who hasn't played a lot of cricket?
On just hasn't played any cricket.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they do.
Australia obviously wrapping up the Warne Mirror Lutheran series there. Great result for Australia, really. So much time now between the Test Championship and their last Test. What do they do? Are they going to town?
No, there's 1 days now.
Okay.
The Sri Lankan tour, so that goes for a while, and then there's the tournament, the next tournament with Pakistan in Pakistan with the 1 days. So the big tournament. So there's a fair bit of 1 day cricket. Alex is now in the 1 day squad.
Yes.
So I admit there was a 2-barreled thing because I thought we had Nathan McSweeney back on Thursday. So there might have been a 2-barreled thing to that question to Rhino.
Yep.
But I'm understanding that he will be playing next Tuesday.
Yep.
So
looking forward to that as well. But where's Australia at as far as the Test side? Because most of those players will back up and play 1 days and also the Test series as well. So you've lost Hazelwood and Cummins and Marsh are all injured out of the Champions League, and Marcus Stoinis just surprisingly retired. So obviously he might be in some 2020 cash leagues. Yes,
I think.
and that's what the go is, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and I did think of asking Ryan, but then I thought it'd be unfair to the thoughts because Mitch Owen didn't play for Tasmania in the Shield game. He's played in a 2020 tournament. Apparently, it virtually acts as a audition for the IPL bidding. So, look, you understand why he's not, but when he finished that 2020, I'm looking forward to going back to playing for Tasmania.
Yep.
Hang on, the first game, he's unavailable.
Yep.
So, I didn't like that. I admit that.
Obviously going to be some interesting times there coming up. All right, mate, we've got to just sort of, what do we got to do? We've got to get what's coming up out of the way first. And coming up, we've got Keith Thomas Part 4. That is a 6-part series because we did speak with KT for 2 and a bit hours.
It was fascinating.
Absolutely.
Look, he was fantastic. You asked Keith a question, he really thought about the answer. He didn't give a cliche, boring answers. And it's probably as enjoyable interview as we've had.
Absolutely.
And I'd really encourage people to listen to it.
And Greg Whittlesey on Monday in our encore episodes. All right, mate, we are going to jump off to Live Golf. And we've got Craig Martin on the line.
5 good minutes in the clubhouse.
All right, and it's that time of year again where we get our local golf expert, Craig Martin, on the line here to talk all things golf. And in particular, this weekend, we've got the Live Golf tournament starting up in Adelaide. Mate, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Craig.
No worries, guys. Thanks for having me.
Mate, we have to ask right off the bat, Ripper GC obviously were the form team last year. Where are they placed this year, and do you give them a good chance?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting when you look at the Live guys, their preparation or their time off they've had through their off-season, I suppose you can say. And most of the Live guys played a lot of events down here in Australia. I did some caddying before Christmas and certainly spent a bit of time around those guys. It's quite interesting to see how professional they are off the course. When you're sharing locker rooms with them and whatnot, and they got the massage tables out, and don't get me wrong, they're pretty relaxed, and certainly had some conversations with Cam and also Lucas, but they're well prepared. I mean, they're professional guys. Cam Smith's the interesting one. I think he would have been disappointed the way he finished a couple of events down here in Australia. Certainly, I was caddying at the Murray Downs when he was well in contention, but even Lucas Herbert actually should have won that event in the end. But and also with the Australian Open, Cam fell away, which it's been interesting in the last few weeks. There's information, or even this week with the Australian Open, that's totally separate subject. But Cam was very vocal in his disapproval of the joint events, which, interesting enough, they now come out and said they're not going to do that this year. 2025, which personally, and caddying in that event is a good thing. They really, both Australian Opens should be able to fall on their feet. It's discrediting the men, but it's certainly discrediting the women as well. So, but yeah, back to Live Golf. I mean, they had their first event last week in Saudi, which was quite interesting to watch because it was played at night. Night golf, which under floodlights and whatnot. But, yeah, it was the usual suspects were up there. Adrian Moronk actually won the individual, but John Rahm's team won and Ripper GC were equal second. So they started the year in good form and expect that would continue into Adelaide.
Absolutely. Well, 94,000 fans attended last year's event. Can we see that being broken with the weather actually being quite nice for the weekend? It's not so nice now, but for the weekend it's going to be beautiful.
Yeah, well, forecast, I mean, it's the big change you'll notice it going from April to February. Obviously, the heat. Interesting, the forecast is pretty good for the 3 days at the moment. Yes. You're right with the heat today and tomorrow. But the golf course will be a lot firmer. They've made some changes to the course in that they've lengthened it a bit for the guys this week, which is good because they did play some holes off the forward tees, which... it makes it a real contest. And obviously, there's talking, caught up with coffee with one of the greenkeepers late last week, and he was saying there's a lot more infrastructure this year around grandstands, and I've seen some of the vision out today. There's certainly some grandstands around the little par 3 and extended par 5 tees and things like that. So, yeah, I think weather-wise, for the last 2 years, they've had no wind, which has been bizarre for Adelaide. So you'd expect if we get a 25-degree day, you're going to have, the southwesterly come through. So that'd be interesting because, like I said, they've had perfect conditions the last 2 years.
2 watering holes this year, so twice the opportunity for holes in one?
Yeah, I mean, both of those holes are tough holes. I mean, to get that hole in one the first year was pretty awesome. They were playing a little bit forward, but it's not easy. And then the 14th is even harder. It's particularly if the wind does get up, you're hitting, these guys will be hitting 7 or 8 iron into a green that's probably only like 15 metres wide with big slopes. So, yeah, I'd expect if we see any hole-in-ones, you might see it on the 6th hole, actually, the short hole where they do have some grandstands set up this year.
Yep. And Grange members, there seems to be rumblings that they're not entirely happy with the event because it's obviously eating into some of their playing time. What's the feeling around the golf circles? Because this is a major international event, and for a short period of time, Adelaide is the focus, and it's only a good thing for golf.
A bit petty for mine.
Yeah, I haven't been down there. I've had a bit of a shoulder injury, so I haven't played for a while. But talking to a few of my close friends and people I know are down there every week. I mean, and even back from when I was on committee, you're never going to please everyone. But I mean, really, I mean, anyone who says that Liv hasn't been good for Grange doesn't know what they're talking about. I mean, 5 years ago, even when we had the Australian Women's Open, you could have got straight in as a member. Now there's a 3-year waiting list plus type of thing. So, yeah, okay. They've condensed the build this year, so less time, less inconvenience for the members. But really, you got to weigh up the positives over the negatives.
Well, that's why I thought
there's talk that potentially Liv might go to Perth if it's not next year, the year after. So, go for a bit of inconvenience to your Wednesday golf or whatever. Get over it.
Fair enough. You actually stole my thunder a little bit. I was going to ask what obviously is going to happen, I suppose, in the short and medium term for Live Golf here in Adelaide, and whether you think the event will stay here. And Peter Malinauskas has obviously been pretty proactive with a lot of that stuff, and I'm assuming he'd be on the front foot.
Oh, don't worry, Mally would certainly be.
Yep.
Yeah, and also I think the thing with Live Golf too is obviously they're expanding, they're getting bigger, and they're in more destinations this year in their calendar. Australia's obviously key to that with Ripper GC and their future plans. I don't know. A lot of the players' feedback is fantastic around the Adelaide event. You just heard a few interviews since they've landed. Yeah. And also saw a video from John Rahm, where he described the Grange's bunkers as the best in the world, which, is ironic because they probably are pretty good until the members get a rake in their hands. But in the past, probably some of the worst, but that's nothing to do with the greenkeepers.
Yep.
That's just the members. So it'd be interesting to see if it continues next year and then what the forward plans are beyond that. Certainly Queensland would be knocking on the door with Ripper GC, with Cam. But also I do know that Perth is a possibility.
Interesting times there as far as Liv goes, but the Liv PGA relationship, where's that all at? Because it's sort of died down a little bit, but where is it actually at?
Yeah, no, it's been interesting. It's only been in the last week, even since Trump's been back in power. Apparently Jay Monahan and Adam Scott, who's one on the players board, went and had a meeting with Donald Trump, who...
that's scary in itself. Yeah.
Well, Trump loves his golf. I mean, you see him on the golf course all the time. I don't know if I'd read too much into his handicap being legit, but anyway. So apparently they want him to get involved because he's certainly had dealings with Yasser from the Saudi Arabia or the Player Investment Fund. So it'd be interesting times. I mean, it has to come together. I mean, more players have been invited from Liv this year into the US Open. I think it's 10, which is good apart from the guys who are already exempt.
Yep.
And British Open will follow. So, I mean, long-term golf has to come back together.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, it promises to be an exciting event here in Adelaide. But, mate, one last question before I get you out here. The indoor golfing experience with Tiger Woods and Co. What are your thoughts, mate? And does it bring an extra element to the game?
It's interesting. I have heard a story off the record involving Rory McIlroy, where he was invited to go and play by Thomas Bjorn to go and play in Europe, who's his ex-Ryder Cup captain, and was offered to come and play. It'd be good for the sport, blah, blah, blah. And he was offered $2 million or $6 million, I think it was. Anyway, $2 million to go and play this event. And he's like, well, obviously he's got 6 days of full engagements, whereas now with the simulated golf, he's getting paid $2 million a day just to show up and with the corporates. And, 2-3 hours of his time. Thanks, guys. Have a great time, blah, blah, blah. And they're done. The TGL, I have watched it. I've got to say, don't know. It's one of those things. I think it's good if you're playing it. Don't know how good it is to watch. It's pretty boring, to be honest.
Well, they seem to be getting reasonable crowds, and obviously it's because of the big names that are there, but
that'll drop off.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting watch as to see, because obviously we have, X Golf or X1 Golf or whatever it is with the simulated, and it seems to be targeted at your average player that can go out and play some of these courses. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes from here onwards.
Oh, it's great. Be a great thing to go and play with your mates, or even there's various leagues and all that around town. I know here in Adelaide, so get 3 or 4 of your mates together and join a league and have a couple of beers and catch up during the week, that type of thing. But from an actual spectacle point of view, I don't know. I mean, you look at last week, they had the Phoenix Open. I think we've mentioned that on this podcast before, but I mean, unbelievable. We went 100,000 people watching traditional golf. But yeah, the sport has to adapt. So, if TGL is the future of the game, wait and see. I mean, you couldn't get bigger names in the sport playing it than Tiger and Adam Scott and Rory, etc. But, time will tell how successful that is.
Absolutely. Well, mate, Live Golf tees off, Friday, 14th of Feb at...
Who's your tip? Come on.
12:45. But, yes, who is your tip?
It's interesting. Last 2 years we've had, no disrespect, we had Taylor Gooch and then Brendan Steele win. But I think we're due for a real big name to win our event. So... he's not a big name, but I'll be going for Joaquin Neiman, but maybe Dustin Johnson or John Rahm.
All right, we'll hold you to that.
But there's about 30 guys that could win.
Yep, absolutely. All right, mate, we better let you go. Thanks for joining us tonight. And obviously, as we said, the home of Live Golf down at the Grange Golf Course. And Really looking forward to watching some good quality golf this weekend, mate. Thank you very much for joining us once again, Craig.
Thanks, Craig.
No worries, guys. Anytime.
Thanks, mate.
Extra time. Big finish.
All right, mate, tonight we are going to condense the extra time big finish because we have run over time. But let's talk Adelaide United briefly. Back to its winning way with a 1-0 win.
Yeah, and it was a good. I actually saw most of that, and yeah, good goal. They should have scored another one. They were good, composed at the back. So yeah, it was an enjoyable win against Melbourne.
United or City? City, I reckon it was, yes.
So, and yeah, Goodwin is playing well. He's going well.
He's a handful for most teams at the moment.
Yeah, so they're encouraging the go you Adelaide United.
Absolutely.
Go you Reds.
Sitting second on the table as well. So they've put themselves in a pretty good position as well as the Redbacks, which we talked about earlier. All right, let's talk basketball very quickly. Scraped into the playoffs, even though they had the golden ticket and didn't cash it. They've scraped in. They play the Sydney Kings Thursday night. It's a do-or-die clash, obviously. Where does this leave Adelaide if they win? Can they go all the way? And vice versa, if they lose, what are the ramifications?
And look, they've been struck with another bit of luck where one of Sydney's main players, Xavier Cooks, has been suspended provisionally for drug stuff.
Anti-doping,
so,
yes.
So we'll leave that alone in terms of that regard. But that's a huge out for Sydney. They trying to keep it quiet, but obviously it was always... I never understand why clubs do that.
Yep.
It's going to come in anyway.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, it's... But, look, you just don't know what they'll do. And, look, again, they were 6 in front against Perth at halftime. The number of games they've been in front at halftime this year and then lost.
Yep.
Is a huge question mark.
There will be a lot of teams who fear them if they do get on a bit of a roll. So it's going to be an interesting watch, and good luck to the 36ers on Thursday night.
I wouldn't back them with anyone's wallet. I will say today I did walk out going to pick up my son from work and found a wallet in the middle of the road. So I did manage to track the guy down and drop the wallet back to his place.
Did he buy a book in the process?
Yeah, he may have.
He may have done that. Well played, sir. All right, let's talk tennis. Alex de Minaur is back in the headlines for backing up after a pretty successful Australian Open. And let's put that into context. He's made the quarterfinals of all 4 Grand Slams. You don't do that if you're not playing pretty well. Look, and he's a class act at the moment.
But the other thing isn't all you want from whoever you're following in sport to get the absolute utmost. Now, I think you do get that from Alex de Minaur. He's not quite as good as the best. So that's nothing against Alex.
I've got this on the run sheet. Is he one of Australia's greater players, or is it defined by Grand Slam wins? Because he's in an era that finished off with Nadal, Federer, and Djokovic.
And do you rate him now? Mark Edmondson won a Grand Slam from nowhere and really didn't do much else.
Yes, but he's revered as one of the Australian greats.
Yeah, he is. But look. As I said, he's getting the absolute utmost out of himself.
And that's all you can ask for, isn't it?
He can certainly afford to buy us a drink too.
Absolutely. Shout out to Alex if he's listening. All right, let's talk a couple of other sports going on. Lawn bowls, good luck to the Adelaide Pioneers in the upcoming BPL. Keep an eye out on KO for games that start next week. Traditionally, we've always batted above our weight, but the one man that we need to keep an eye on is South Australian Nathan Black. We've talked about him a little bit before. One of the up-and-coming juniors who is actually playing for Sydney because they can draft players from or state players or national players to play in that as well. So good luck to the Adelaide Pioneers. And my last one, mate, is do SANFLs have to become more inclusive of local clubs within the area? Double headers, triple headers to try and get local clubs involved with the SANFL clubs?
Yes, and yes.
Yes.
Also just work with their clubs far more in the areas. And SANFL clubs have got to remember, you go and do a kids coaching clinic, and there's 80 kids there.
Yep.
Half will have on their AFL jumpers, whoever they support, and half will have on their community.
Yep.
Now, I did one a couple of months ago, last school holiday, or whatever it was.
Yep.
There were 82 kids there. Well, there was 2 in SANFL gear. Remarkably, they won an award too. Yeah,
that's always the way.
And
Yeah, so maybe some triple headers where you invite the players to watch the game beforehand and then they play the game after. Or
the old pie and pasty nights. So the other thing now, they wouldn't have a clue who any of the players are. It's not the old days where you all knew who Michael H, Neville Roberts, Gary McIntosh was, etc.
Yep.
Nowadays, you don't have any of the SANFL players in. No one's got any idea who they were, so they've got to be better,
and with
smarter.
With the changes of players from season to season, it's important as well. All right, mate, we're going to leave the good, the bad, the ugly for this week because we are miles over time. We thank everybody for listening tonight. As per usual, like, rate, subscribe, listen, send it to your friends, family and foes. And, mate, we have to do better than this.
Go South Australia!
There you go.
In this crazy world we live in, we all need the distraction. Enjoying the show? Like, rate, and subscribe. Hook up and connect with us on social media at Sportscast SA. We'll see you next time on Game On.